Hello there everybody and welcome to the first ever YouTube video of the LMAC11 swag channel. I hope everyone is doing well. This, like I said, is my first YouTube video. I'm not going to be editing these videos, partly because I don't know how to, and also partly because I think it's more authentic, it shows who I am, I guess. Which is kind of the idea with this content. Sometimes it will be music related stuff, but today we're just going to kind of be talking generally speaking, about life, really. I have a lot of opinions and thoughts on things, so I thought I'd share them with the world. Why not? But I hope everyone's doing well, and let's get into it. So the kind of thing I wanted to focus on today is how life isn't linear. Now, what I mean by that is it's very easy to kind of get caught up in I'm this age, I should be here, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, oh, why can't I get this right, all this kind of stuff. And I think what we forget is life isn't just this linear thing where it's like I'm born and then I do this and then I do that and then I do this and then I do that. Like it doesn't work like that. And it doesn't work like that for anyone. Even the most successful people, you look at their life stories, they don't tend to have this kind of progression. Sometimes, they'll have 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. And I think it's really important that you recognize in life that this is the way it works. Otherwise, you end up getting caught in this kind of negative way of thinking where it's like, I'm, 25 and I'm not doing this thing that other 25-year-olds have done or are doing or will do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, life is just that. It's life. Frank Sinatra said it best. That's life. We are born and we do die. Everything that happens in between, that's kind of up for us, whether you want to debate on whether we have free will. I mean, that's definitely a conversation for another day. But in terms of the whole life isn't linear thing, I think the main thing I'm trying to get at here is that everyone, tries too hard to kind of be, doing everything all the time, and it's just not feasible for us as humans or really anything. You look out in nature, it's not like, beavers are always building dams. They have time to rest, they have time to kind of process things. I mean, I can't speak for beavers, I'm not one myself, believe it or not. But I can certainly say that, they're not always doing these things that we know them for. Same with any other animal, And I think we need to learn to recognize that, yes, it is important that we are productive and we get on with stuff. But I also think a lot of that's kind of capitalism suggesting that we need to always be doing something, whether it be working or grinding or whatever it might be. I think at the end of the day, if you have a passion for something and it's what you want to do, then just do it at your own pace. There's no, person that's going to be nagging you except for yourself. You're always going to be your biggest critic and also your biggest motivator. No one can make you do the work except for yourself, and that's the main thing to remember. Definitely take time to rest. Burnout is real. Like if you try and force yourself to do 500 productive things every day, you're going to maybe do it a couple times and then go, damn, like I can't do this. Like a really good example of this, right, is I work with this guy, really great guy, love him to bits, and he's got another job. So I work at McDonald's, for anyone who doesn't know, fun little fact, and that's where he works as well. We work together there, and he's got on like a second job doing night shifts at Tesco. There you go. That's an example of me not editing this. That will stay in. But he's doing night shifts at Tesco now as well, and he's got this plan where he's gonna do these like night shifts, then he's gonna do like a day shift at Mackey's, and then and go 2.5 days no sleep. That is a brilliant example of someone that is just trying too hard, and I respect it. And his mentality is, oh, we lose so much time, sleeping. Like, oh, like we gotta maximize my time, and it's like the main thing is like. Another point to make, I guess, off the whole life isn't linear thing, which this video certainly isn't linear, is that sleep is really important. Rest is as important, if not more important, than the work you put in. Because the time that you have to rest is the time that you have to kind of decompartmentalize and, take that time to have a break. You can't make a masterpiece if you just sit and only do that for days straight without any sleep. Like, you're not going to end up making a masterpiece. I know obviously famously Da Vinci had his weird sleep routine where he would, sleep in half an hour increments. Everyone has their own way of doing it. And that's another thing, another point to make, is that humans are all different. We are all unique in terms of our genetic code, but also in terms of how we function. Not everyone needs 9 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep. Some people can function off less or more, or you know what I mean. Yes, there's a baseline, you know, and this is what scientists talk about. There's averages, you know, in data you average out. That's where we get the 8 hour sleep figure from. Is it's kind of the average of everyone, but don't assume that the average is therefore, you know, what everyone is and how everyone in terms of context of sleep, how much sleep everyone needs, or in terms of, you know, height, even like going to something really like random, I know, but like, you know, just because the average height in the UK is what, like 5'9", 5'8", whatever, that doesn't mean every single person in the UK is 5'8", 5'9". Obviously that's as for males. Obviously average height for women I think is 5'5". Anyway, getting sidetracked. What's the time on this? Damn, nearly 6 minutes. Damn. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of have this first video to kind of rant about how I just think everyone pushes themselves too hard, and it just results in people not getting the stuff done that they could be getting done. And I've struggled with this before, you know, sitting down, chilling out and thinking, oh, I should really be doing something. Like I should really, you know, seize the day and all that stuff. But the thing is, you can't seize the day all the time, and I think humans naturally as well, we focus on like negative stuff. Now, fun little fact, this comes as kind of a evolutionary sort of thing, where obviously when we were hunter-gatherers, we had to focus on the negatives because obviously we had predators, we had things that we had to worry about. So we would focus on the negatives because it's, you know, it's important for our survival, essentially. It was, you know, oh, well, these great things happen, you know, I got food, I provided for my family, whatever, but also my mate got mauled to death by a saber-toothed tiger. Do you know what I mean? Like you got to focus on, we had to focus on that for our survival. But obviously we're not really in that state anymore of hunter-gatherer. Apologies if the camera shakes, it's because it's set up on a drum throne and I keep accidentally hitting the drum throne. But you know, yeah, we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We're not built for that lifestyle. We don't need to then, you know, we're kind of, it's almost like our evolutionary kind of brain development is kind of having a kind of what's the word for it, like argument, like kind of, you know, battle with our, you know, modern minds, because at the end of the day we've changed a lot in hundreds of thousands of years. A lot. Like we have society, we have all these rules, all these things, and you know, the stresses that a hunter-gatherer had, we don't really have. You still get people that have that lifestyle and they probably have the same concerns. But for us, it's very different. And that's why it's tricky, because it makes sense for us to focus on the negative things. But we need to also be able to shift our kind of focus and move towards focusing on positive things. Because, yeah, a lot of things have gone wrong. You know, use myself as an example. You know, a lot of things have gone wrong in my life, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, a lot of things have gone right, and a lot of things, you know, even the things that have gone wrong, they haven't, like, you know, completely destroyed me, you know, and that's the main thing that I think we all need to remember, is that, like, just because stuff goes wrong doesn't mean that it's, like, you know, the end of the world. And that's something that you kind of realise as you get older, and that's part of learning and growing, is that you kind of realise, oh shit, like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, yeah, this at the time maybe felt really horrible, or, you know, I felt like I wasn't going to recover or come back from this. But you do, and that's the amazing thing. And I think it's really important for people to remember that, and that you can always come back from anything, even if you hit rock bottom, or, you know, somehow below rock bottom, you know, you get to the crust, the core, you know, it's always possible to bounce back. And it's another thing with life not being linear. Like, you don't always necessarily make progress after progress after progress. Sometimes you make loads of progress in a short time, and then you don't make progress for, you know, days, weeks, months, years. You know, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, success is whatever you believe it to be. You know, my success is different to another person's success, who's different to another person's success. And again, that comes down to us being unique and having different goals. And yeah, you can average it out and go, success equals money and you know, a family and this and that. And you know, that's okay. But you're definitely generalizing. And generalization is never a good thing. You should never generalize in any context whatsoever, whether it be about, you know, groups of people, or about goals that people have in life, or even about like animals and what they do. You know what I mean? You just shouldn't generalize, because everyone is an individual and unique, and that's brilliant and beautiful, and we should embrace that more, I think, instead of everyone trying to be the same. That's why I'm not really a big fan of like trends, because I just think they're short-lived, and no one's doing it because they're like, oh yeah, this is genuinely sick. It's that thing where it's like, I'm doing it because this person thinks it's cool and I want to impress that person. And again, I think that comes down to people wanting to like show off and, you know, impress other people, which is fine. Like, there's, you know, we all naturally are somewhat performative, believe it or not. I mean, that's just how it works. However, you should only really do the things you love and believe in the things that you believe in, and not really care what other people have to say about it, because it's your life. You know, Bon Jovi said it, it's my life and I'm going to do what I want, I think it's the lyric. But, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you only live your life, so you have to be, you know, doing what you love and not listening to what XYZ person thinks of it, you know? Because if we did, then none of us would be ourselves, and it would suck. We'd all just be like drones. Yeah, we'd just be like, you know, these boring, like, because we just have no kind of qualities that make us different from each other. And that's why I think it's so important to embrace diversity, because at the end of the day, diversity is brilliant. You know, whether you're talking like multiculturalism or different sexualities, different genders, this is amazing that everyone has their own way of being, and I wouldn't want it any different, to be honest with you. And I think it's really important that people realise that. And I can understand why, you know, there's a lot of debate around, you know, oh, should I really, you know, be myself because I don't want to be judged and I'm scared of judgment. But why? Why are you scared of judgment? You're going to get judged regardless. Even if you, like, in my experience, even if you, like, pretend to be someone you're not, you're still going to get judged by somebody. Like, that wasn't a flex, by the way. This is so weird, just, like, looking, because I'm kind of, like, looking at myself on the screen, which is kind of weird. But, yeah, you know, life isn't linear, and you should be yourself at all times. And it's like Kanye said, man, don't let nobody tell you nothing. Well, that's obviously not how he said it. He said, you can't tell me nothing, which is true. Although, actually, fun fact, it doesn't really make grammatical sense. It should be, you can't tell me anything. Think about it, guys. Anyway, yeah, I really do just think that everyone should be themselves. Jeez Louise, it's getting to 12 minutes now. I just think everyone should be who they are. And that is my big takeaway, is that life isn't linear. Don't be so harsh on yourself. Yes, you should be your own biggest critic, but you should also be your own biggest glazer. That's definitely a weird way of wording it. But do you know what I mean? Like, everyone is wonderful, and I wish everyone the best. And I thought I'd start off my first video with some kind of, I guess, like motivational life speaking crap, whatever you want to call it. But I do genuinely hope that someone out there, even if it's one person that sees this and it makes a difference, I really hope that's the case, because that's what it's about. I am Elmac11. I want to make a, you know, positive difference in this world, because I think there's so much negativity, you know, politically and otherwise. You know, there's just so much bad in the world that I want to be someone who actually promotes kind of goodness. Whether you know, maybe I'll do a video later down the line about whether evil is really a thing, because that's definitely something to talk about. But please, anyone that sees this, let me know in the comments down below what you thought, whether you thought this was just some guy sounding crazy and waffling, which it probably is, but let me know down below. Please smash the like button. I sound like a 2016 YouTuber, but yeah, please smash the like button. Let me know what you want me to talk about, whether there's anything in particular you'd like me to share your thoughts about. Hopefully this video does well. If it doesn't, you know, it'll be something to revisit in the future. But yeah, be your best self. Don't let people tell you anything. Don't, you know, water yourself down. You are amazing, unique, and incredible. And I wish everyone the best. Love and take care, everyone. That was kind of awkward, but, you know, screw it.